Their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
Is this the tether?
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Clippers got another road win last night. They won by 16 at Washington, 31 points from Kawhi Leonard. James Harden dropped 25. The Clippers are now 16 games over 500 and have the third best record in the Western Conference. The Lakers are at Boston tonight. They need a win to get back to 500. 4:30 tip-off on TNT. The GoFundMe drive to build a new statue for Jackie Robinson in Wichita, Kansas has surpassed $140,000. The goal of $150,000 appears to be in reach. City officials want to build a new statue of Robinson to replace the one that was stolen on Saturday and destroyed. Robinson's statue was on display at McAdams Park in Wichita, home of League 42, a youth baseball league named in Robinson's honor. In 1947, Robinson became Major League Baseball's first black player. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Climate is king.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that caring for the community means caring about the climate. You might have heard that we announced a pretty bold 12-month, $2 million campaign to do 4 things. Increase climate literacy, turn up the volume on communities of color in the climate conversation, connect everyday people with the resources they need to survive and thrive, and highlight frontline climate justice crusaders of color throughout this year. KBLA Talk 1580 will be bringing you insightful interviews on all of our shows to help raise your climate IQ. Each quarter this year, we will also be hosting free climate events in various communities throughout the city with food, fun, and forward-thinking conversations. Thanks to partners like LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, the Sierra Club, the California Community Foundation, the California Endowment, AQMD, MWD, and more. You'll also be hearing more about a couple of national town halls broadcasting live from Los Angeles, to which you will be invited. And we'll be rolling out a robust social media campaign on all our platforms, as well as an outdoor media campaign, all designed to educate, enlighten, and empower you in our fight for climate justice.
We want cleaner air.
Caring about the community means caring about the climate. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that we really can change the world. If we care enough.
First things first.
First things first, it's the DU General, Money B. I'ma put you up on the schedule, 6 to 9, 8 weekdays, not 2 and 7. Let's go. We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First black on talk radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique DiPrima go way back. Tag Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. We're hosted black and brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the movement. So we tune in. The first things first with the queen of Black Talk Radio, Dominique DiPrima. Go sis.
First things first.
Good morning and God bless. I'm Dominique DiPrima. You're tuned into a show called First Things First, my first thing today and every day, giving thanks, giving praises, and asking for blessings from God, asking for the blessing of the ancestors and the elders, and getting it going. Happy Thursday. So this is the way we do this show. The first hour, we typically look to the left coast, what's going on around here, around these parts. The Pacific Ocean side of town. Hour 2, we go national, international, and beyond, global to the local. Hour 3, we do a deep dive with a person or persons of interest. I've said repeatedly that things are a bit topsy-turvy because it's election season, but not today. Today, we are mostly sticking to the script. We'll be having our regular contributor, Sherry Bell, joining me hour 2. She is a labor organizer, and that should be quite a great conversation. And we'll look at, all the things going on the national landscape. And hour 3, I'm so excited. She's a singer, songwriter, guitar player, And believe it or not, a researcher, Corinne Bailey Ray, will be joining me in the studio, so you'll be able to tune in on the YouTubes. And I'm excited because she's just personally an artist that I happen to find great and amazing. So I've never talked to her before. I hope you'll join us for that. Right now it's me, you, and the telephone, microphone, whatever other kind of phone you got, the flip phone. You can hit me up on the DMs in KBLA 1580, or better still, my personal, which is DiPrima Radio, DiPrima, and then radio. That's where you find us on YouTube at KBLA 1580, where we're broadcasting every weekday morning, rain or shine, lipstick or no lipstick. And, of course, like, subscribe, follow while you are there. I love chopping it up with folks on socials during the show, after the show, on the weekends. But right now, the direct line to speak your mind is 800-920-1580. I didn't mean to do that rhyme. Sorry. 800-920-1580. That's the number. That's like the old school DJs, like, go way back. Everything rhymed. And they had special voices like, hey, this is Dominique on the radio. But yeah, no, we're not doing that. Okay, come on, Dominique, wake up. Well, look, love to talk with you. We have a lot to cover. Luckily, tomorrow is Freedman Fridays. The package of reparations legislation that was promised by California's Black Caucus has dropped, and we got a few questions. We got a few observations. Clearly, we will go deeper into this on our Freedman Friday, but we are not going to let the day pass without unpacking that. What I love is that there's so much movement. There's so much conversation and local initiatives and state initiatives that are in play right now, even the ones trying to preemptively block us from reparations. It shows that this is a real strong movement, and I believe that as we talk more, as we have the comprehensive reparations conversations, which we have Fridays in our second hour for Freedman Fridays, it's 7 a.m. Pacific, that when we do that, we help add on to that momentum. We make ourselves more brilliant and better informed, and that is part of how we get this done. In the short range, in the long term, in the mid range, locally, nationally, on a state level, on a county level. To me, it's all in the equation. I understand some folks have concerns about, how a local or state efforts could somehow let the feds off the hook for their part in the enslavement, the Jim Crow, and the subsequent harms, which are all part of the root of this, what some folks like to call the original sin and the birth of this nation. Well, there's two, right? The genocide of First Nations persons, and the enslavement and subsequent continuous harm and lack of repair to Black Americans, enslaved Black Americans, African Americans. We can talk about it. I'm here for that all the time. 800-920-1580, but especially on Fridays. So we're going to take a look at this package of bills. The headline in the LA Times, and I saw this really getting some national note as well, is that there is no cash payment there. Well, that doesn't surprise me, and I'm not saying I agree with that. Some folks weren't happy with me playing Rihanna B. Better Have My Money as my reparations theme song, but sorry, I like it because I think it has to be also. It must include the monetary piece. That's back to what we were talking about yesterday. Yes, you do have to throw money at the problem sometimes to fix the problem. Nobody says there's a pothole on my street, I won't throw money at the problem. No, you got to fix that pothole, and it's going to cost you some money. That's just the way things work. That said, I wasn't expecting that in the first round of reparations bills. I believe that the Black Caucus is doing what they think they can actually win on. Now, whether or not that moves the needle significantly is another conversation, which we will have today and tomorrow. The other thing is, this is, I believe, where we come in, which is making sure that they don't think this is one and done, that they can rest on their laurels and say, oh, well, we gave you a legislative package. No, because there's a lot of work to be done based on the recommendations of that report. I never, ever expected a money bill for reparations in an election year. Ain't gonna happen. Well, look, impossible is nothing, says Muhammad Ali, so I'm going to take that back. But I think it's highly unlikely, let me put it that way, in an election year. However, I'm here for it whenever it happens. So I want to take a look at what these folks are doing and what they are saying that restitution looks like right now. And from what, my preliminary analysis is, it seems like a lot of stuff that helps everybody. Now, I'm not saying there's anything necessarily wrong with helping everybody. I actually don't think that's a problem. I think even the cash reparation, the cash payment that goes directly to those who have been harmed, those who were promised reparation and never received it, nor the protections that we were promised. Even those direct cash payments are going to help everybody because it stimulates the economy. Black people will buy things from you and you and you and you, whether you're black or otherwise. This is definitely going to help everyone. But I'm talking about, changing policies that impact anyone who is liable to be discriminated against and harmed by the system of white supremacy that we have behind many of our laws and institutions and traditions in this country, what they call the badges of enslavement in the California Task Force report. I'm already seeing some conversation online, people angry because there are not enough specifics targeting Black Americans or freedmen or ADOS people or FBAs or DOBAs, as Molly Bell and Mr. Peoples would denote. But the thing is, I'm looking at it as preliminary. There's at least one proposal here which does seem to be a little affirmative action-y, and I'm not quite sure it can hold up in the state. But again, I'm not an attorney. And also the complaint is that is kind of a helping everybody, but not specifically addressing the harms of Black Americans. Love to hear your thoughts. 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. I haven't moved on, by the way, from the Board of Supervisors meeting on Tuesday. I do have a lot of thoughts about it, and what I'm really trying to do is be mindful, because the head of the Justice, Care, and Opportunities Department is my friend and colleague. And so I want to be fair to the electeds and all of the department heads that are participating in this conversation and who should be part of the solution. And what we're talking about, for those who don't, and I can't blame you because they're not what I would call riveting all the time, who don't follow the Board of Supervisors meetings. One of the big challenges is that under pressure from the public, from activists and concerned citizens, the LA County Board of Supervisors voted to shut down the Men's Central Jail. This happened in 2021. This has been a problem, though, for a long time, well over a decade, because of the conditions inside, because of the so-called mysterious deaths of mostly Black and some Latina people inside the jails, which are almost always considered accidents, even though many times they're suspicious and appear to be at the hands of sheriff deputies, because of the existence of LA Sheriff's Department gangs and the inhumane conditions in which most of those folks in there inside the men's central, and if we're being honest, inside a lot of California jails. It's not my opinion. The courts have said it. Look at what's happening with the juvenile system. It's like whack-a-mole. Every time they move the young people somewhere because one facility is considered inhumane, then the other one that they move them to is about to be declared uninhabitable too. So clearly we have a big problem, right? With the treatment of prisoners. California has more than just about, I believe we have more than any other state, but we might be second to Texas. Not 100% sure about that. But we got a lot. We got a lot of prisons and a lot of prisoners. Public and activists, and I'm sure those folks who are incarcerated there want to shut down men's central jail. The question is how. That is what the LA County Board of Supervisors took up on Tuesday. And the reason I say that I, really want to be discerning and wise. I don't want to be unfair, even though I know I'm a smart ass and proud of it. But when I see the way that that meeting went down, I have some serious problems here. I also have some important information to remind us to track. And I got questions for the Board of Supervisors, certain supervisors more than others. And I got questions for the people who are showing up every week advocating for the closure of that jail. And I got questions for you and me, right? How? What role do we play? So, to be clear, my friend and colleague, who is a former prosecutor, I think she's my only former prosecutor friend, but she's also a product of the foster care system. She is also a dedicated activist in terms of restorative justice, and a retired Superior Court judge who is now heading up this department and has been tasked for the past little over a year with figuring out how to close this jail. So this is something we need to talk about. And I said yesterday many times when we have a problem that's considered intractable or problematic, what do? Get a black woman. And of course, many times black women, like the impressive 5 women on our LA County Board of Supervisors, will get a job done against all odds with little resources and very little appreciation. For me, the problem is when you decide to make that person a scapegoat for the inaction of a giant body, which is the electorate, which is the government and bureaucracy, administrative giant behemoth that is LA County. That's where the problem comes in, when it becomes about grandstanding and pointing fingers rather than sincerely looking at what it's really actually in this world, not in Easter Bunny world, going to take to safely shut that prison down without just pushing people to an equally problematic or similarly problematic facility, and with in a way that addresses the problems and challenges of caring for folks who may have all kinds of needs. 800-920-1580. If you're interested in any of these things or some other things, I'd love to talk with you. I'm Dominique DiPrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do Black history every single day. In fact, as the only Black talk radio station west of the Mississippi, we are Black history. Our annual Black History Month luncheon is fast approaching, and we want to be sure to give you ample time to get your company, organization, church, or group to join us at this year's celebration on the last day of the month, Thursday, February 29th at noon. Last year, we honored iconic local Black media personalities, including Pat Harvey, Jim Hill, Mark Brown, Beverly White, Sandy Banks, and Pat Prescott, and raised $20,000 in scholarships. This year, we're honoring Black Hollywood creatives who have used their artistic genius as climate justice champions. At this year's luncheon, we will be showcasing and sharing their inspiring work on our big screen. Plus, a scrumptious meal, live music, great company, and lots of fun with your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts. So contact us today at info@smileyAudiomedia.com or call 323-290-4690. That's info@smileyAudiomedia.com or call 323-290-4690. We hope to see you Thursday, February 29th as we close out Black History Month. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Oh, this cold.
Honey?
Honey?
Honey, you need DayQuil Severe Honey.
DayQuil Severe Honey gives you powerful cold and flu symptom relief with a honeylicious taste, because life doesn't stop for a cold.
Okay, I'm ready to go.
Now I'm getting a cold.
Honey.
Try DayQuil Severe Honey for powerful cold and flu relief. DayQuil Severe with honey flavor. The daytime coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever, honeylicious, power through your day medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Race, culture wars, political turf battles, criminal justice, and injustice. The courts. These are the conversations you won't hear elsewhere. My guests are leading journalists, celebrities, and sports figures, elected leaders, and influencers. They aren't afraid to get into it and say the quiet part out loud. With Ariva Martin in real time, your commute just became the most engaging part of your day. Tune in weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. or find us on YouTube. Ariva Martin in real time, when you want it straight, no chaser.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. Your ancestors' favorite radio station. And your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
Right now. Yeah, so, I mean, we're going to keep talking about this. And we have to, because otherwise it won't get done. And I do clearly understand the position. We were talking about it yesterday. For those who were not tapped in, the plan was to close Men's Central Jail and not build another jail, because voters, progressives, and others do not want to build another carceral facility in Los Angeles. And people have been hesitant about different ideas, such as building some kind of hospital or whatever, because it seems like it would just be a jail by another name. I believe that's where we are. But if you look at what's, the moves that LA County has been making to reduce the jail population, including the new bail schedule, which means that a lot of folks with nonviolent misdemeanors get out pending trial, then you know that the presentation was on point in terms of the fact that, yes, the jail population is smaller. What the data that was presented seems to show is that those folks that are left, the ones that are waiting for trial, a lot of them have have serious offenses. So what do you do? And then there's a lot of folks in there that 53%, according to this data, that have that are receiving some kind of mental health treatment. So how do you do it? Let's say we blow the whole thing up. Do we have humane, properly equipped facilities, beds is what they call them, for these folks? And the answer appears to be no. We'd have to add, according to these numbers, that based on extensive analysis of the data, we'd have to add 1,200 new beds every year. And beds doesn't just mean, a cot. It means a bed with the attached services, with the attached, experts to be able to manage that person. And it has to be something that the courts would be fine releasing a person to. So that means the security of those beds is also an issue. And so if you start putting on your thinking cap, you realize that you're talking about, decisions that are made by the court. They're also talking about trying to accelerate the way that folks move through the system. Well, that's one of the things that Supervisor Mitchell was saying. Yeah, that sounds good, but how do you do it? And how do you, well, I'm paraphrasing. Is that even going to be effective in moving enough people? But these are all things that would have to be done at the same time, getting the courts to feel comfortable releasing another 7,000 people. So that plan that was presented by Judge Armstead is a 5-6 year plan, which would require every single piece of our county government to do their part. It would require judges to sign off on those releases. It would require mental health to have the beds and staffing in place, which we keep reading is a struggle, right? That they're having a hard time attracting and retaining folks. We would have to have the the health care available to deal with some of these folks who are severely ill. We would have to have the sheriff's department in motion, right, to reduce the jail population. It's not just, it's going to be a county-wide effort, and I would love to see that happen. The other thing, which I don't, seems tough, but back to Muhammad Ali, impossible is nothing. Got to drop recidivism rates. That revolving door of people going in, out, in, out. Now, how do you do that? Obviously, hopefully restorative justice. The other thing that, is a bit of a wake-up call for all of us, I think, is the fact that you have to, those 1,200 beds, they have to keep being emptied out, meaning the person goes there to that rehabilitative care, and by the end of the year, they're ready to move into less secure, or move out into the world and be independent, because otherwise those beds don't free up for the next wave of folks coming in. So I think it's an important conversation to have, and I'm going to keep talking about it, because I don't think saying, okay, we've had this problem for 10 plus years now, we're frustrated because we all want it closed. Let's put it all on one person or one department, and not have every aspect, every department play their part in making this happen, including those folks who consider ourselves activists. 800-920-1580. It's news, traffic, and sports, and more on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
We welcome you to a Thursday. It's February the 1st. I'm Mike Moore. Now here's the latest. The Federal Reserve is holding interest rates at their highest level as consumer confidence improves and inflation slows. Fed Chair Jerome Powell told reporters, however, the central bank needs to see more evidence inflation is easing before cutting back rates. He said inflation is still too high and the path forward is uncertain. In New York City, an eyewitness to the 2002 killing of Run DMC's Jam Master Jay has taken the stand at the trial in Brooklyn. For over 15 years, Uriel Rincon told authorities he didn't recognize the gunman who killed the African-American former Run DMC member. But on Wednesday, Rincon identified Carl Jordan as the shooter inside a federal courtroom. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Clippers got another road win last night. They won by 16 at Washington. 31 points from Kawhi Leonard. James Harden dropped 25. The Clippers are now 16 games over 500 and have the third best record in the Western Conference. The Lakers are at Boston tonight. They need a win to get back to 500. 4:30 tip-off on TNT. The GoFundMe drive to build a new statue for Jackie Robinson in Wichita, Kansas has surpassed $140,000. The goal of $150,000 appears to be in reach. City officials want to build a new statue of Robinson to replace the one that was stolen on Saturday and destroyed. Robinson's statue was on display at McAdams Park in Wichita, home of League 42, a youth baseball league named in Robinson's honor. In 1947, Robinson became Major League Baseball's first black player. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Got me a damn girl on my team.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe we have the best tag team in morning radio. Dominique DiPrima and Tavis Smiley. As the first black woman in Los Angeles to anchor a morning drive talk radio show, Dominique covers local politics like a blanket. Weekday mornings from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. At 9 a.m., Dominique passes the baton to Tavis Smiley, who talks to everybody about everything every day until 12 noon. KBLA's dynamic duo, Dominique and Tavis. It's no wonder the LA Civil Rights Department is honoring Dominique DiPrima this year at its Tell Our Story honoring black journalist leaders and storytellers event, Thursday, February 8th. Or that the John M. Langston Bar Association of Los Angeles is honoring Tavis Smiley at its 47th Annual Installation and Scholarship Awards Gala with its Community Impact Award on February 10th. We couldn't be more proud of Dominique and Tavis, who make black history every day, not just in February. If you're missing Dominique and Tavis weekday mornings on KBLA Talk 1580, you're missing out. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
Holla, yeah.
City of Los Angeles landlords that own rent-controlled properties, you are now able to increase rents by 4% for your rent-controlled properties. An extra 1% per utility up to 6% can be added only if you pay the entire gas and electric bill. And don't forget to give your tenant an advance 30-day written notice for rent increases of less than 10%. It is state law. Learn more about the rent increase at housing.lacity.org. That's housing.lacity.org.
Hello, I'm John McKinney, your candidate for District Attorney. As an African American who has served our community for over 25 years, I'm proud to have successfully convicted the killer of Nipsey Hussle, standing up for justice where it matters most. But my commitment extends beyond the courtroom. I'm deeply invested in youth development. And when it comes to our police, I believe in accountability. It is essential that those who protect us are also responsible to us, reflecting the values and integrity of our community. This election, I ask for your vote. I am John McKinney, and I'm running to be your district attorney. Learn more at McKinneyforLA.com.
Paid for by John McKinney for LA District Attorney 2024.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed? Because no two people sleep the same. Only the Sleep Number smart bed lets you each choose your individual firmness and comfort, your Sleep Number setting. The Climate 360 smart bed is so smart it actively cools or warms up to 13 degrees on either side for your ideal sleep temperature. JD Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Limited time. For JD Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Oh, this cold.
Honey?
Honey?
Honey, you need DayQuil Severe Honey.
DayQuil Severe Honey gives you powerful cold and flu symptom relief with a honeylicious taste, because life doesn't stop for a cold.
Okay, I'm ready to go.
Now I'm getting a cold.
Honey.
Try DayQuil Severe Honey for powerful cold and flu relief. DayQuil Severe with honey flavor. The daytime coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever, honeylicious, power through your day medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yes, I'm glad you are here, and I'm excited today because I get to talk with Corinne Bailey Ray in the final hour of the show, and you all the time, 800-920-1580. So, okay, it's Thursday, and tomorrow we have our Freedman Fridays, but let's talk about this right now. 14 bills that have been put forth by the by California's Legislative Black Caucus. And none of them, as I mentioned, none of them calling for cash. I'm going to say yet, because this is their first round of bills, and I believe that we, the people, will make sure that it's not the last. They work on various things. One of those things is an apology. I'm curious how important you all think an apology is. It's wild to me that we need legislation to get an apology for California's role. But, I mean, I guess it's good. And I say that, looking forward to, by the way, for those wondering, Cam Howard will be our Freedman Friday guest tomorrow. Some of you guys have been asking for him to be present. But what I'm saying is that I don't, I'm assuming that a formal apology from the state would help down the line, maybe, with the legal soundness or resilience of our reparations programs in the state. I was happy to see the governor said he finally got through all 1,200 pages of that report, and that he, is working, that his office is working on an analysis, their own analysis of those recommendations, and also so that we can see what's already been done and what is still to do. He claims that he didn't include any of that in his budget because he wanted to see what the Legislative Black Caucus was going to come up with. And of course, as the LA Times rightly points out, it is an election year. So of course, I've been pointing that out for well over a year, that we were going to be dealing with this during a time when folks are running. Not only this being 2024, but the fact that our governor, and I'm going to say several other lawmakers, have ambitious plans for their futures, and they don't want to be saddled with something, i.e. giving us what we're owed, that could decrease their popularity with certain voting blocks. And that's where all of these polls come in. Even though I tweeted, and I still believe this, reparations is not a popularity contest. It is a debt that's owed to black people, so it should be paid whether it's popular or not. But that's not really how politics works in this country. That's one of the reasons why I feel like we have to keep talking about this. We have to build momentum. They are members of the Legislative Black Caucus are saying this is not a one and done, that this is going to take years, and it's going to take, they're even saying, educating their fellow lawmakers and the public to help build support. So ACA 7 is amend the California Constitution to permit the state to fund programs for specific groups of people that help increase life expectancy, improve educational outcomes, and lift them out of poverty. This is the one that people, lots of analysts are saying, will be in violation of the state's ban on affirmative action. I suppose that's why they're trying to go to the Constitution with it. But the other thing about this, and I understand the criticism here, which is the way that is written, specific groups of people. It's already going right to one of the things we have to deal with, which is this idea, well, everybody has had harm. Everybody deserves reparation. You get a reparation, and you get a reparation, and you get a reparation. I am not here for the divide and conquer or the anti-immigrant rhetoric, but I do think that if you look at the example of affirmative action, where everyone, specific groups could be any protected group, what ends up happening is, as with many other things, Black people end up at the back of the line. So some activists are saying this is a way of making reparations less specific and more like affirmative action, which means, number one, it may or may not hold up, pass muster in the state, and number two, we have to look at whether it really meets the definition, our definition, the people's definition of reparations. Amending the Constitution to prohibit involuntary servitude for incarcerated people. We tried that. I think it was 2022 we tried to pass that. Didn't pass. Definitely that needs to be included, even though that, Black people aren't the only folks that are working for slave wages or no wages inside the penal system, but it is definitely a vestige of the enslavement era, and I was just stunned that it wasn't able to pass before. So I feel like that ACH should pass. I do think it's kind of embarrassing for California that Louisiana passed it. Yeah, Southern racist Louisiana passed this prohibition on enslavement of prisoners before California. So I definitely think that's important and hopefully this time around viable. Although, again, these were economic arguments that were used to say, well, it's too expensive. If you're saying that you can't run your business without paying people less than the minimum wage, then your business model is illegal and problematic. And you need to either shut down that business or tweak your model so that you can pay fair wages in order to move forward. AB 1815 prohibits discrimination based on natural and protective hairstyles in all competitive sports within California. So this is Holly Mitchell's, obviously she's an LA County Supervisor at this time. She's not in the Senate anymore. But this is basically the Crown Act for sports. Okay, I'm here for it, but is it a pillar of reparations? I don't know. Offer competitive grants to increase enrollment of African American descendants in STEM-related career technical education. Yawn. I shouldn't say that, but I feel like we're on this STEM obsession, which, okay, it's good. The United States is behind everybody in STEM, but Black people in education need a level playing field in every field, not just the one that's super trendy right now, which is STEM. But I'd support it. I'm not quite sure how that. I'm hoping that assembly, the assembly members that are on this bill, and I'm assuming since this has got Bradford and Smallwood Cuevas coming from the Senate side, and Joan Sawyer, McCarty, McKinnon, Weber, Wilson, Bryan, and Gibson on the assembly side that they know how to get this around. Actually, that might not be right as far as the assembly members. That's what I think. But, how you get that around an affirmative action ban. Is it the competitive grants? I guess the grants are going to the institutions rather than the individuals. Okay. It's not terrible. But like I said, this is just the beginning medically supportive food and nutritional interventions as permanent Medi-Cal benefits in California. That actually sounds, that one has Bradford and Cuevas. And the list that I just mentioned to you, that sounds like it's promising. You know, when we get to existing programs and you find ways to make them more robust in a sense that you can help the people that are obviously most impacted because they are, you're talking about medically needy Medi-Cal, which means they are low-income folks. I think that's a smart way to go. Yeah, it helps everyone. So what? Let's help low-income folks. And it says it would make medically supported food and nutrition interventions a covered benefit under the Medi-Cal program through both fee-for-service and managed care delivery systems. This is one of those ones where you really need the details, and I'm looking forward to talking with these folks. I'm sure once it's going to be tough during election season, but I'm sure as election season winds down, we will have a better opportunity to talk to folks about this. And hopefully some of these campaign conversations that we're having right now will venture over into this area as well. Okay, I'm wrong. The bill I was talking about for STEM comes from Assemblymember McKinner. So, okay. I mean, it's one of those things that is popular, right? We're in a frenzy about STEM right now. Which as a mother of a recent high school graduate, I can tell you has a plus and a minus side to it. And this, coming from Assemblymember Bryan and the California prison system's practice of banning books without oversight and review. Honestly, they shouldn't be banning books at all. And this is just the beginning. I think, yes, AB 1986, again, that's something that helps everyone in prison. You get to read. Seems like a no-brainer, but it's really not, especially in today's environment of banning our history specifically, our empowerment, our critical thinking specifically. I think that's something that, is good to get done. And they've said this is just the beginning. So we got to track. We've got to track this stuff and hopefully encourage that momentum and conversation that allows us to continue to build on this. And the other thing that I want to say, which is really important, is that it represents motion. We are in motion. They said they were going to deliver something in January. They did. It is, it's a start, and it is putting the rest of the country on notice that reparations is in motion. And, we are going to have to address this on a federal, state, local, city, on every level, corporate, institutional, on every level. Here we come. Reparations is in motion. I'm Dominique DiPrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Charles Barkley in a pickup game.
We'll take Barkley.
Ha! First pick. Sorry, kids.
Yep, even easier than that. With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, is it even a decision?
Okay, here's the plan. Pass me the ball every time.
This is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA member FDIC.
We're from Washington. We love Febrez's new scent. Refresh and energize.
So much we made a song about it.
I can't escape this feeling inside. Refresh and energize. It's a mood, it's a vibe. Breathing for the first time. So free, so alive. Breathe happy for free. Smells like paradise. Breathe happy for
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
KBLA Talk 1580 is the exclusive media sponsor of This Light of Ours, activist photographers of the Civil Rights Movement. A dynamic new exhibition on view now at the Skirball Cultural Center in Los Angeles. This Light of Ours showcases more than 150 photos taken by movement insiders from diverse backgrounds that reveal the vital work undertaken by a broad coalition of organizers and everyday people whose collective action changed America. This Light of Ours is one of 3 temporary exhibitions currently on view at the Skirball, which together explore issues related to civil rights, immigration, and pluralism. Tickets and more information for all 3 exhibitions are available at skirball.org. That's skirball.org. SKIRBALL.org.
The thing no one tells you about periods is that your flow changes every day, and so should your tampon size. Tampax has 5 absorbencies to match your changing flow. If it hurts to remove, go down a size. If it leaks, go up a size. Only Tampax has a leak guard braid to help give you up to 100% leak and odor-free protection. All-day comfort and protection for under $5 a month. Based on average U.S. consumer usage at manufacturer suggested price. However, pricing is at the sole discretion of the retailer. Excludes 8 companies.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
Yeah, we're gonna keep talking about all of these things, and there's more. I mean, I think there's some really great stuff in this reparations package in motion. As I said, there's more specifics to come. I love, Bradford added again, restoring property taken under race-based eminent domain or offer other remedies to the original owner. That's like Bruce's Beach on steroids. I love that for us, California. I think that's really getting to the heart of when we talk about repair. What was taken? What was stolen? What impacts to generational wealth can be reversed? I love that. And I guess, a formal apology for slavery and the other crimes against humanity that come forth from our enslavement as Black people in this country. It's important. I think it is important. I just, I always say, okay, an apology and a reparations check will buy you a plot of land. I also love this. Well, let me put it this way. Restrict solitary confinement in correctional detention facilities. We talked about this with Assembly Member Holden when he was here. I would like to see it eliminated altogether. But what they're talking about is in this bill is restricting it to the point where we at least meet the humanitarian standards of the world. That's always good. And letting communities know before you shut down grocery stores and food deserts. It points to an important issue. I don't know, how I guess what it will do is allow communities to try to reverse that decision or try to find investors to take that over or at least force some accountability in the way that it's done. And I know that lawmakers have to work within or try to work within what they think is plausible that meets the recommendations in this report. Eliminate barriers to occupational licenses for people with criminal records. Yeah, of course, that makes sense. I mean, there's so many things in the state that you can't do after you have served time, which in some cases, those folks were doing inside the correctional facility. for slave wages, and then when they get out, they can't do it because they can't receive a license from the state if they have a felony. But yet, apparently, you can be president of the United States, and at least until we change that. But as of right now, you can't be a cosmetologist in California with a felony, but you can go on and be the so-called leader of the free world. And again, I don't have all the details here, so I could be wrong about some stuff, and I'm going to leave that right there. Offer state-funded grants for African-American communities to decrease violence. Again, not sure how this gets around affirmative action. Some person living in a community with no violence is going to sue, saying it's discrimination. And here we go again. But I guess there's nothing wrong with trying it, or perhaps smarter people than me are figuring out how to make that legally happen. When you look at, I guess that's why when you go to, eliminate barriers for people with criminal records, that doesn't say eliminate barriers to getting a license for black people. We're just hoping that since we tend to be over-prosecuted, over-arrested, over-convicted, and when I say over, that's just not based on my emotional feeling. It's based on the percentage of us that are actually doing the crime. Like, more white people actually have contraband in their cars. By percentage, not by volume, in LA, for example. But we are pulled over at a much greater level, searched more. And of the people who are arrested in any given category, the black ones are more likely to be prosecuted, to have the book thrown at them, to be convicted. So we can logically say, hopefully this will impact black Californians in a significant way. And I think, this is a great start. There's some stuff that I'm not, jumping up and down about, and I'm always going to offer a critique. I do think that's part of the process. But I commend our black legislative leaders for doing something, for responding in a robust way to the task force in taking this first step. Well, we can all argue about what comes first, the chicken or the egg, or whether this is a first step or not. But it's certainly an important step, right? So that when a report lands 1,200 pages thick in a about 70-page summary that you can get at the Office of the Attorney General's website online, that it doesn't just sit there and say, that was nice. This movement for justice ends with a study. And I think that that happens a lot of times. You go to a town hall meeting, there's another panel, there's another investigation, another hearing, and then what comes out of it? Where do we put this protest and these policy proposals into action? And recognizing that California is in the middle of a budget contraction. Of course, if we wait for the right moment, the perfect moment to fund reparations, it'll never happen because there'll always be something that's a greater priority. But this particular year, being a budget shortfall and an election, it seems like a strategic way to fire those shots across the bow in a legislative form for actual implementation of change. Oh, my friend Sherry Bell, labor organizer, is up after news, traffic, and sports on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
We welcome you to a Thursday. It's February the 1st. I'm Mike Moore. Now here's the latest. The Federal Reserve is holding interest rates at their highest level as consumer confidence improves and inflation slows. Fed Chair Jerome Powell told reporters, however, the central bank needs to see more evidence inflation is easing before cutting back rates. He said inflation is still too high and the path forward is uncertain. In New York City, an eyewitness to the 2002 killing of Run DMC's Jam Master Jay has taken the stand at the trial in Brooklyn. For over 15 years, Uriel Rincon told authorities he didn't recognize the gunman who killed the African-American former Run DMC member. But on Wednesday, Rincon identified Carl Jordan as the shooter inside a federal courtroom. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.